Today we are getting you on your way to mastering the Combat Medic. Wasting no time and getting right into it, Lifeline's abilities are as follows. Her passive is the Combat Medic, which lets her revive friendlies with her healing drone, while still allowing herself to be mobile. She can also revive both of her teammates at the same time. Lifeline also has another small addition to her passive, which is the ability to open the extra drawer on those blue pills that you do see around the maps. Second is going to be Lifeline's tactical, the DOC heal drone. This is a healing drone Lifeline can drop every 45 seconds, and it will heal up to a total of 150 health to all players that are attached to it. And finally, Lifeline's ultimate is the care package. This is a care package Lifeline can call in every 5 minutes, and this does have healing items, shields, knockdown shields, helmets, attachments, and much more in it. More on her care package later, but if you are wondering what type of role Lifeline might fit into the squad, it's going to be the support role. There is not a lot of support legends in Apex, but if you are looking for one of the few that is capable of being the team healer or lifting the squad back from the brink of death, Lifeline is going to be for you. I'm really not expecting any changes to Lifeline in the near future, but I would highly encourage you to check out my pinned comment down below for any and all changes to Lifeline since the launch of this video. I'll also let you know if this guide is outdated and no longer relevant. Plus, I will also drop some comments in there to how Lifeline is faring in the meta of Apex Legends. Before we get to any specific ability tips, you need to have this massively important Lifeline ideology locked into your head for when you are playing her. You can forget everything else in this video, but if you are going to remember one thing, let it be this. Lifeline cannot be the first one to go down. Lifeline's real power comes from supporting her squad with those heals, and of course, the passive revives. Any Lifeline that is first to get knocked on her team more or less means they probably should have played another legend. Always be aware of this and try to support the team, be behind them, but as always, stick within gun range or even a quick run to revive them. The first tip for Lifeline's passive is to slide into your revives. If you're able to slide into a revive, this allows you to slightly bypass the animation of Lifeline doing a revive, and will also let you have greater movement, making yourself harder to hit and get tagged by enemies. Another reason that this is great is it also allows you to create separation from you and the reviving player. The greater the distance between you and the reviving teammate means it forces enemies to make a decision. Either they need to shoot you, who ideally is shooting back at them, or they need to stop, take a second, and finish the teammate that is getting revived. For you, it's going to be a win-win scenario as it increases your chances at winning that gunfight. This is also when canceling revives comes slightly into play. If you can tell an enemy is going to thirst your knocked teammate who is being revived, you can cancel your revive by using the on-screen prompt to allow your teammate to bring up his knockdown shield. This is also when canceling revives comes slightly into play. If you can tell the enemy is going to thirst your knocked teammate who is being revived, you can cancel your revive by using the on-screen prompt to allow your teammate to bring back up his knockdown shield. This is really situational, but a good Lifeline can make these quick decisions which can make a huge difference in surviving. Also, if you do cancel the revive, you can play off of that knockdown shield of your friendly, and this might help give you the edge in a fight while also saving your squad mate's life. And another somewhat obvious tip for Lifeline's passive revive is to always let your teammates get behind cover before starting that revive. It's not always going to be possible, but if you can manage this, the chances of the squad mate not getting finished while in the open will greatly be increased. I cannot tell you how many times that while I am getting passively revived, if I was just a foot or two to the side, behind that tree, behind that wall, in that building, it would have made a huge difference. If there is going to be anything that does give Lifeline some offensive power, it is actually going to be the use of her healing drone while you are fighting. What is meant by this is when you do take some big damage, if you can combo your drone to heal some health and some cells or batteries at the same time, you are pretty much healing at double the rate any enemies are, and it's a very underrated way to increase your chances at winning those gunfights. Another very basic tip is that right after you start a revive on a player, drop your healing drone on them. This does let that revived player immediately get some healing to get them back into the action a little bit faster. Much like staying within revive range, always be aware of your teammates' health. If they need some healing, a quick run and drop with the tactical healing drone means they can stay healthy, and you don't need to waste time or waste resources by using those healing meds. It is not always relevant, but it's good for you to know that Lifeline's drone will not work in caustic gas or when you are taking ring damage. So if you are near either of these, save the drone. And if you are unaware, the tactical healing drone is more or less indestructible. This means that this small little drone can actually block some incoming damage, and if you are in an extreme bind, the drone can be used for some very minor cover. We are not done yet, but if you are enjoying the video, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It does help a ton with getting the video noticed, and be sure to subscribe for all future content to help improve your game, some Apex news from time to time, and much more that we do have going on around here. I appreciate the support. To be honest, Lifeline's care package really is not that great, but it does have some uses. If you are unaware of how the loot works in Lifeline's care package, the 3 sides of this care package have dedicated set loot tables. Side 1 is always an upgraded Evo shield, knockdown, or helmet. Side 2 is guaranteed shield cells, syringes, batteries, medkits, mobile respawns, heat shields, and phoenix kits. And then side 3 is going to be always an upgraded weapon attachment. If by chance your entire team is fully kitted out with either red Evo shields, gold Evo shields, and full attachments that are also gold, the care package will still dish out some extra healing items. However, this is going to be very rare, so you more or less can expect to at least get some gold attachments and, of course, healing items. The care package does not dish out any red tier items, so care package weapons and red Evo shields are not going to happen. The biggest factor here for the care package is really going to be that those purple and gold shields can be so critical to get early on. This can make a massive difference in games when you are struggling to get solid armors, and it really does make the care package highly desirable during the early game or even the late game if you are struggling on loot. One of the biggest issues with the care package is the audio and visual indications it makes to pretty much every team within a few hundred meters. This often can add a target to your back, and it will force enemies to come try and find you. Not only is this also pretty loud, a giant blue beam of light will be in the air, it takes 15 seconds to come down, and the care package itself is blue, meaning it's easy to tell if it was an in-game package or a Lifeline package. That being said, sometimes all these audio and visual indicators can be used to your advantage, and if you know someone is somewhat close by, you can drop this package with the intention to try and bait those enemy players to come over to your location. Not always useful, but it's a pretty tricky tactic that not many utilize. In addition to this, sometimes if you are caught in the open and you need a way to push forward, using the physical care package as cover is a really great way to provide your team with some relief. And while this is not necessarily a specific Lifeline tip, ultimate accelerants can make a massive difference with the amount of care packages you will be able to call in during a single game. These accelerants benefit no other legend as much as Lifeline, since the timer on that care package is a very long 5 minutes. We do have a few more Lifeline tips that you should know if you are planning on tackling a respawn zone. I mean, Premier, Support, and Healer Legend. For starters, gold items on Lifeline can be massive, especially the backpack. There's very few legends that can benefit as much from the gold bag as Lifeline, and every Lifeline needs to get this gold backpack to really enhance our team's survivability with our passive revive. A friendly getting 100 bonus health is a huge thing, just don't sleep on it. Second to this is that the gold helmet actually isn't too bad either. The healing drone timer is pretty long, and it will benefit this more than most of the other tactical abilities in the game, and this is the same thing with the ultimate. In addition to a lot of the tips we have talked about, Lifeline really needs to have a great sense of positioning. Lifeline should be the anchor point for the squad. She should be providing a sense of safety or a bubble of safety friendlies can retreat to. If a Lifeline can anchor a spot and control an area, this will greatly improve your chances at controlling an engagement. But in line with this, Lifeline still needs to be very mindful of her squad's location. It is her job to support the team, not only being in gun range, but to of course being within revive or healing range. This doesn't mean hold hands, but also don't let your team run off when you are trying to pull up the rear or anchoring a building. While you can avoid a ton of bad situations with good sense of how to play the game, this does not mean it is your job to save your teammates from making a dumb play. As a Lifeline, you're going to be yelled at or even harassed for a revive, but it's up to you to take that information and do with it as you see fit. If a revive is going to cost you the game, don't do it. This is especially in the case when you know it's an unwinnable scenario. Do your best, but you aren't a wizard. Don't throw your game for some random teammate making a bad call. Not as much a tip, but be mindful of Revenant. A Revenant's silence will stop Lifeline from being able to do her passive revive, and this can be a huge surprise if you aren't paying attention when you are fighting a Revenant. While Arena is not the most played mode in Apex right now, Lifeline is still one of the best legends you can choose in arenas. Don't sleep on her. She's incredibly viable, and if you can, pick up that gold bag every round. One specific tip I do want to give you and an example is to land in Capacitor in Kings Canyon. Kings Canyon's Capacitor has 3 charge towers, meaning you can get 3 care packages all within minutes of each other, and it's a great way to really equip yourself quite well right off spawn. Additionally, there's a 4th charge tower not too far by, and you can again get a lot of loot this way. The second example is the power of Lifeline's passive revive during this endgame on Olympus. These 2 people have high ground on us. We are pretty much caught underneath. My teammate ends up going down, which at first I think is really bad. I am applying pressure, keeping them from dropping right away. I do get some good damage, and it does allow my teammate to walk over to me so I can start that revive. The enemies hear that revive going off, so they do drop down. What they do not know is that my teammate's getting revived with the gold bag. The power of the gold backpack means as soon as my teammate does get on his feet, he can instantly start shooting the enemies, and he does not need to hide and heal. This is major because it does allow us to get the drop on these enemies, and if my teammate did not get down here, they might not have ever dropped, and the outcome could have been completely different. This is just one example of the power of Lifeline's passive revive, as it allowed me to hold the enemies off while that revive was going off, and the gold bag paired up with this revive really just came in clutch. There's not going to be a whole lot to talk about when it does come to legend combos, but one thing to start with is the fact that Lifeline is a very immobile legend. This basically means anyone like Valkyrie, Pathfinder, or Wraith, to name a few, will greatly help her out on rotations, and they will give her some increased survivability. Second to this is that Watson actually is a really nice pair up for Lifeline. If you can combo Watson's ultimate pylon shield regeneration with Lifeline's healing drone, you can get the squad fully refreshed faster than most other legends in the game. Another fine pairing is going to be Revenant, as you can drop your healing drone right on his totem after you do get sent back from death protection, immediately starting to heal up those that return. Other than this, there's not a whole lot to say about legend combos. Just try to be creative and try out some different legends till you and the squad find something that works. On the other side, weaponry is actually a pretty big deal. Like we said earlier, Lifeline's positioning is pretty important, and she needs to be able to efficiently support the squad from the back. Hybrid weapons like the Rampage, Flatline, R301 are all really insane at supporting from mid-range, and then they can work pretty well close up when you do need to move in and finish a fight while you are trying to get a revive. A great secondary to pair up with any of these is also going to be shotguns. My preference for Lifeline is going to be the Mastiff, but the Peacekeeper is honestly a great choice as well. Lifeline's viability in today's meta is a tough thing to tackle, as it's going to come down to how experienced you are as a player. Lifeline in upper tier ranked or higher tier pub lobbies is a rare pick, while if you are in lower lobbies, she's a little bit more usable. The fact that her abilities do cater to a slightly lower level of skill, that doesn't mean that they aren't useful in all aspects of the game. Lifeline for me is still a lower tier legend, somewhere in the bottom 5 legends in the game, but this does not really matter. If you enjoy and are able to use her with effectiveness, that's really all that matters. Pretty much all legends in Apex are solid, and Lifeline definitely falls into this as well. If you want more on the legends in Apex, check out the playlist on screen for you, as we have a legend guide for every legend in the game. Also, if you want to forego playing with randoms, as I know it can be difficult, hop into our community Discord. We would love to have you. But until next time, happy gaming, legends.